好，我现在已经 I just figured out how to do this thing. All right, I need to share this with不知道有没有人呢？我觉得这个时间好像不太好，对吗？哦，为什么？你可以，哦，真的吗？OK，好，because I realize, I don't think I'm doing it properly. Hold on. 你好，Ed. Inspired by you. I guess I am live. 对, I think the one that I set up earlier didn't really work because I somehow didn't have the go live option. 哦，好，有人出现了。Here's my patron, Anthony. 你好，等我一下哦。So this is my first time going live. I'm still figuring out how to do it. 好的，对，好像还有其他人。看来这个是一个公开的活动，人人都可以参加。So here in Taipei, it's 9:30 a.m. in the morning. I just finished teaching, so I realized this is not the best time for everybody. Patrons in Europe cannot participate. 所以下次我们会再选更好一点的时间 a better time for everyone. Probably evening in Taipei. That will work for Europe and the States. 好，大家有什么问题吗？ I actually have a few questions. I want to know people who join my Patreon, why you joined my Patreon. 我要怎么？你是2:30才上，不好意思 ，I'm so sorry。你是还没睡觉吗？还是你是特地爬起来参加我的 live event? I feel so bad. So I know everybody has been very supportive with my videos, and please share your thoughts if anywhere how I can improve these videos and make them better. I know a lot of people say they didn't know there's a lesson in the second half. I somehow just assume everybody knows, like, a 8-minute video, there's a lesson in the back. And I'm trying to keep the intro as short as possible. So if you watch the videos in the future, there's always a video at the end, but I will make sure that I include that reminder at the beginning. Oh, 好，谢谢你. I'm very happy my videos are clear for you to learn Chinese. So right now, I have been editing the new video on a new street Mandarin on Snake Alley. I will be having snake soup. I actually made a video 8 years ago drinking snake soup. And so that was a long time ago. And then the disappearing of the Snake Alley, I decided to go there and check it out and interview some people, asking them whether they've had it before and what they think about the disappearance of the snake eating culture. So that's the next new video coming up. I'm working on the editing, but the video is very long. I have a special guest. His name is Cody. He will be on the show with me, and he speaks fluent Mandarin, so everything will be in Chinese. And so we invited Cody to come to film with us. Yeah, we invited him to come and film with us, and I interviewed him and quite a few other Taiwanese people. And then I'm like, oh, Cody, we have to go try snake soup. So we did that, and he talked about, as a person who's never had snake soup before, he's American, what he thinks about the soup is. So you will see that in the next video. But the video is very long, so it will be 2 parts. The first part is the introduction, interviews, and I will be talking to the only restaurant in the Snake Alley that serves snake soup. I interviewed him. So he introduced what the 怎么说这个套餐 the set includes. So I interview him, and then Cody and I will try the snake soup together. And part 2 will be the lesson, breaking down the interviews. And I will be teaching the usage of 过. asking somebody, how do you ask somebody, have you ever had snake soup, using 过 verb plus 过 to describe one's experience? Oh, how? Well, this is so cool that I can see all of your responses, but I wish I could see your faces so I can kind of get more direct reactions from you. 好，有一个 patron 他问了一个问题 ：Should one learn both simplified and traditional characters? I've always advised my students, if you plan to learn Chinese long term, you have to learn Chinese characters. And of course, for the practical point of view, it will make sense, seems to make sense that you will learn simplified character because of the number of population in China. But I always advocate people to learn traditional characters. So I think the best way, at least in the field of studying, learning Chinese as a second language, one should try to learn both traditional 传统字 and simplified characters 简化字. For the reason is that if you see 传统字和简化字 there are a lot of them are different, but 也有很多它们是相同的，就是意思就是说传统字和简化字一模一样 they're the same. So one example is 如果我说我明天I should write 拼音，等一下哦。我明天好，我明天好去旅行。我明天去旅行。我明天去旅 and 行。好 ，so this is an example when both 我 in simplified and traditional are exactly the same. 明天去旅行 I tomorrow go travel. Both forms of writing are exactly the same. And so if you want to, you're thinking about learning Chinese as a long term, but then which character to learn, I would suggest if you can learn both. Because the most 常用字, just the most frequently used characters, there are only actually 400 characters. So if you can master these 400 characters to be able to recognize both traditional characters and simplified characters, then you can pretty much handle quite a bit of like a daily Chinese, right? So this is the example that where traditional and simplified are the same, then you don't have to learn two different forms. 但是有很多的汉字，他们 traditional 像就是这个学生的学 right? And simplified would be this 学 then you have to learn both forms of writing. 但是 if you can master around 400 characters, learning the two traditional and simplified, that could pretty much get you through the daily Chinese. 对，所以我会建议大家 I recommend people who are really interested in learning Mandarin to be able to recognize both. Not so much in writing. Writing can help you memorize these characters. 但是因为现在we use computers, right? 我们都直接用打字的，所以我觉得认字 character recognition would be more important than 写字。对，好的，大家还有什么样的问题？因为I only receive, so I have to write both every time I see them. 对 ，it's best if you can learn both. Right? Let me see. Yeah, 松鼠, that's your answer. 对，所以如果你 it will be a little bit time consuming, 但是如果你用字源 like the radicals, I'm not entirely sure how you learn the Chinese characters, but if you can learn the radicals and from the radicals you learn what other characters this radical form, it will help you a lot. 对，所以我觉得 if you could try to learn both forms of writing. 好 very helpful information. 谢谢。好的 anybody, do you guys have any like others advice, or if you were on my Patreon, how can I make the membership better? Do you like the study sheet or the audio? What do you guys think about it? Oh, how there's this book that I'm reading, but it's all in Chinese. He's a scholar in Hanzi teaching, Chinese character teaching. So he actually listed in the book. Maybe I can try to find it and find it if I could, and then put it online. 是的。好, I think are you all learning simplified characters or? Okay. How I feel so strange that I'm kind of talking to myself. And okay, so I have another traditional character. 对. How? Because with the traditional character, you can also see the root of the characters. 哦，很多人在学习繁体。好，传统字很好。对，但是如果你先学传统字，你再学简化字 it will be quite a bit easier. 对，因为 because the majority, even when I was teaching in the States, I have to teach in simplified character. 好, so the best is like try to do both and then simplify with the occasional traditional. 好的. And so with my videos, I put traditional, simplified, pinyin, and English. I think that's good for everybody, right? 好, 那I also have a question for you guys. So I was asking what you think, if you're a patron, how I can make the membership on Patreon better. If you have any ideas, feel free to share this with everyone. And I also want to know why you joined my Patreon. Videos, okay. And what kind of videos would you guys like to see in the future? I see that street Mandarin is very popular. I've always wanted to do that for a very long time, to turn the authentic material and then into the teaching learning materials. Any more ideas? Would you be more interested if I host videos with somebody, maybe another learner, maybe a Chinese speaking non-native speaker? 你们觉得呢？对, so that's you will see that in the Snake Alley video where I'll have a host in the video. 好，天哪, I can't believe I'm live. It's just so strange. 那大家, what about any more questions about learning Chinese that you have? What's the most difficult thing when it comes to learning Chinese? If you invite. What do you mean by inviting attention to the traditional characters? Like videos to teach characters? 是吗? Minnan Hua. So Minnan Hua, I grew up listening to Minnan Hua, so I can understand Minnan Hua, but I don't speak very well, I have to say. Somehow when I grew up, my parents, they always speak 国语, which is 中文 to us. 所以我听得懂, 可是我说得非常不好. I don't think I'm capable of teaching Thai to everyone. Thank you, guys. So this is actually my study where I teach. I used to film here. You can see the lights back here and the filming gear down there. 但是现在, so now I don't film as much here anymore. I add my videos here and teach online. So if you attend my online lessons, this is where I'll be teaching with my whiteboard, with my, my cards that I use to teach. And right. And then what other questions do you have? Let me just see. For sentence structure is the hardest. I know words, I can use them. My grammar is terrible. Yeah, I think one has to practice a lot more. Chinese grammar is not known to be difficult. However, we don't have tenses. You know how when you say 我今天去旅行和我明天去旅行, the time adverbs tells us the context of the action, when it happens, when it takes place. So if you say, I'm going to travel today, 我今天去旅行, and I'm going to travel tomorrow, 我明天去旅行. And then the third one is, I went travel yesterday. 我昨天去旅行。You just switch the time adverb, and then it will tell the listener when it takes place. 但是 for me, when I learn English, this is very hard to do the tenses, like, travel, traveled, or go, went, gone. This is very hard for us. I like the stories behind the characters. It makes learning fun. And it adds a good element for the entertainment. 对 That's why learning traditional character, for example, this one, I can make to learn, right? So I can say, oh, you've learned this word, 子, the word 子, which means it was a child, right? So the child is learning in a 学校 at a school. 对，所以可以用这种方式教学。Let me just see your question. You already pointed out the difference between traditional and simplified character, and this was I found that very helpful. 好，非常好。Yeah, because I didn't really receive any questions from the patron. I wasn't really sure what to expect or what questions you will be asking me. 好，所以像我 when I'm teaching to my students, I use a lot of the 字源教学, right? So the radicals, I definitely introduce the radicals and how this radical call forms other important words. This radical is a character by itself. 它也是汉字，自己是一个字，对吗？但是它成为 radical 的时候 it becomes like a component, a semantic, a meaningful component in the character. So it forms other characters. It's important when you learn Chinese characters to be able to recognize the radicals and then how they form other characters. 好，还有什么 sentence structure? Sentence structure is difficult because English format doesn't work well in 中文。对，但是在中文里面 ，this is why 中文 is so amazing 。中文很有意思的是，如果你可以掌握 ，if you can understand this basic word order, everything else remains the same. 一定是时间 subject, time, right? And then the place, and then action. 好，所以这个是很基本的 basic sentence pattern and structure in Chinese. And if you, for example, I'll just, okay, 我 right? 明天 tomorrow. 我明天 place. So place we use 在 right? So 我明天在学校 school. 我明天在学校上课 OK 上课好所以这个意思是 I tomorrow at school attend class 对吗这个 basic word order if you think about it makes sense because I then the time is chronological then the time has come so tomorrow has arrived then I go to this place 在学校 I go to 学校 right then I carry out my action 上课对所以如果 if you can understand the subject time place action then the sentence pattern shouldn't be too hard 对我明天在学校上课 I tomorrow I go to this place and then I carry out my action 所以这个是中文跟英文比较不一样的地方 So this is not tomorrow English you say I go to school you will say I go to school or I go to school to have a class tomorrow right 时间在后面对 that order makes sense I agree 对所以我就跟学生I will explain this to the student 但是 still you will it's natural that your native language will still 一直要迁移 you still want to say 我上课在学校明天 that's 就不对就是 Chinglish 因为 word order is incorrect 但是我们还是听得懂 we can still understand you 可是这个是最基本的 a very basic word order that you need to understand I tomorrow 对在学校 at school study 上课 attend class 好 Can you explain B sentence structure 可以啊。比很容易耶，比就是怎么突然 instead of live event 现在是中文课 ，OK 好。所以呢，比怎么上呢？就是 A 比 you're comparing two things, right? A 比 B， 然后直接加形容词，这个也是最基本的，这个是 B right here。好，来 ，so we're comparing two things. Let's say we're comparing 中文，好。那如果我说中文，然后呢，比英文 ，then what would be the adjective？ 你们觉得呢？所以 Chinese compare to English to be what? Say difficult。好，如果我们就说难，呢难的。好，所以这个就是 structure A 比 B just adjective 没有很 ，students will always put a 很 there， 不对，就是中文比英文难。哦，好容易 ，I like that。中文比英文容易，可以，对，所以 literal 的意思就是 Chinese compared to English to be easy. In other words, Chinese is easier than English. 这个就是比的句子，中文比英文容易。好，这个有问题吗？this should be pretty easy, right? I know the mistakes that lots of students will make, they will say 中文比英文很容易，就没有很了，绝对没有很 just the adjective by itself. 中文比英文容易。好，还有没有别的问题？ And you guys didn't answer any questions that I have. What videos do you want to see in the future? So the adjective is talking about the first word use. 没错，对，没错，就是这个容易，你在说的是中文，对，所以 Chinese compared to English 这个比就是 compare 的意思。Chinese compared to English to be easy. 所以 the Chinese grammar, when you look at the literal translation, it makes sense, even though that's why I can't do that in my video because it gets very long, right? If I explain like this, Chinese compare, I just give you the English translation saying Chinese is easier than English. 但是我上课的时候 when I'm teaching, I will explain to the student what it means literally. And that's why the translation is like that. 好 A is bigger than B. 好，所以你说的是好 for example 我们再看一个例子，如果你说我家 my house is bigger than yours， 我家好比 right 我家比你家然后呢大，我家比你家大，所以谁家大 whose house is bigger？我家比你家大，对，所以你会说，所以是我家大 ，right？ 这个就是说 my house， my house compared to your home to be big。我家比你家大，这个大是在说前面的这个名词。My home compared to your home is big， or 英文就是 my house is larger or more spacious, bigger than your home. That makes sense? Thank you for answering your questions. Thank you for showing up, everybody. This is my first live event, so I'm 有点紧张. I'm a little bit nervous. 然后I prepared, but not mentally prepared. But I didn't really get enough questions to know what questions I'm answering. 对，好 Thank you for showing up. And somebody said about a video about difference between mainland and Taiwan Chinese vocabulary and pronunciation. Yeah, that's a good idea. I've been thinking about doing that and maybe explain like the rule, how the traditional characters become simplified characters. There are actually certain principles that follow. But I'm not sure. I'm not maybe knowing that could help you learn Chinese, but I don't think I can do one video about that and the difference between Taiwan. If you see in the street Mandarin video, I think the beauty of that is the first episode on 过年, Chinese New Year. I was able to interview a mainland Chinese person and a person from Hong Kong. I wasn't sure. I asked in the video, not in the video, but in the comment section, whether anybody noticed the accent difference. 那个口音很不一样. So when the mainland Chinese speaker, when he was being interviewed, it's very apparent he speaks differently with his accent. 然后还有, there were actually 2 people from Hong Kong. They were visiting Taipei, and then I interviewed them in the video. 那在那个 Zoo 动物园的影片，我也访问了好像2-3个中国大陆的母语者. 2-3 people are from mainland Chinese. So I hope as I continue, when I interview people, I will like to diversify that a little bit, be able to find speakers from Taiwan, speakers from mainland China, and even speakers from Singapore or Malaysia. 但是有点难，因为除非他们就是来台湾旅游. If they're traveling here, I'm like, oh, can I interview? Then they agree to be interviewed, then that will work. But I'll do my best. So when I film these videos, I try to interview as many people as possible. 就是我要收集很多的语料, a lot of input from them, and then be able to cut them into the same clips. Also, another thing is it's very important to ask the right questions. I think the Street Mandarin episode 1 was a very successful one. 因为我问的问题因为这个问题问的方式要让大家的回答差不多，但是又有点不一样。对, so I would like their answers to be very similar to each other, best if there are some repetition. So you can hear that says, oh, 回家过年, go home to celebrate Chinese New Year. So that episode was a huge success. 对，然后我觉得其他的也不错，但是 the other videos in Street Mandarin, I ask more open questions. Like, oh, what do you think about this? 那他们的回答可能就都不太一样，对吗？好，还有什么东西 ？I can spot the Beijing accent， 没错，这个就是这个 Street Mandarin 的目的。比较，所以 Gary， 你的问题是什么？是比较怎么用吗？这个吗？我们现在回到语法，等一下 ，That's not sure use it properly。哦，比较，好，这个比较怎么用？所以我们现在说，我家比你家大，对不对 ？So my house is bigger. My house compared to your home to be big. 好，这个概念没有问题了以后 ，if 我们用比较，就是说，我直接写 A 好了。好，就是 A. We're still talking about the same thing, same example. 那你就 A 直接加比较一样 just adjective. 好，所以 now we know因为 Chinese is very context based, right? 所以我们已经知道我们在比 the size of our home, right? So 我家比你家大。Let's say I come to your house, and I'm 你家很漂亮哎，你家很漂亮，可是我家比较大。Then I'm not comparing A is bigger than B. I just say, oh, my house is bigger, right? My house, 我家 comparatively or relatively speaking to be big. 对，所以这个 context tells us that I'm comparing 我家还有你家。对，所以我来到你家了，你家很漂亮，可是我家比较大 ，but my house is bigger. Because we know we're comparing 我家还有你家。那 the beauty of Chinese is 一样，就是这个 structure 啊，你就说我家比较，你就加大就可以了。The form of 大 doesn't change, like 英文比较大 bigger. I remember I always have to memorize bigger or stronger, more beautiful, prettier. 这个 I still made mistake when I use them. 但是中文没有这个问题，你就说我家比较大， 我家比较漂亮 right? So 漂亮 pretty or beautiful. My house comparatively 漂亮 prettier. 这样明白？好，或许 maybe I do a street Mandarin on comparing. I can ask people, what do you think about, certain, maybe I have to think about what subject I'm asking them to get them to answer like this. 对， I think that would be a good video. 好，我再看一下。那你吃饱了吗？所以你说你吃饱了吗 is another way of saying how you're doing. 对，我们常常会问说，哎，如果我看到你就是吃饭时间 around lunch time，那我就会说，哎，吃饱了吗？吃饭了吗？就是一个 greeting 的方式 right? 因为 it makes sense, right? Because people are making a living and then you want to make sure they are fed and then so they're doing well and then they can carry on their day, 对吗？那 because every time you ask it, as we always 对，Chinese people 我们喜欢谈食物 we like to talk about food. 对，但是 basically 你吃饱了吗？吃饱了，谢谢。对，unless the person really want to talk to you about food and they really want to chat with you, then they will kind of go into details. 这个就跟英文，你问说英文，你们可能会问 How are you doing? Oh, pretty good. 对，但是你如果是跟不熟的人 not somebody you know very well, you won't go into details, 对不对？是的，所以我们常常会问啊，你吃饱了吗？吃饭了吗？好，那我来问一下，你们吃饭了吗？你们 Where's everybody？ 你们大家在哪里啊？都是有人在台湾吗 ？Any person from Taiwan living in Taiwan？ 在台湾的有没有？好 so a video that helps explain the directional complements as resultative complements. 对，好，说到语法，桃园，我的老家，我是桃园人 ，Arizona，不错不错，好。台北，有人在台北，好的。我觉得，如果其实我不知道我在台湾有观乐者，I would like to maybe one day we can do like a meetup in Taipei. I thought most of my viewers live abroad because most of my tutor students they are abroad. 对，但是如果我在台北有，或是在台北在台湾有观乐者 I see a few of you from Taipei, then I can maybe set up some kind of meetup sometime in the future. Okay, another question is, what do you think about the HSK series? 你们觉得 HSK 的影片怎么样？ I know a lot of people are not familiar with HSK. Just it's Chinese proficiency test. And the reason why I choose that because I know a lot of learners. I just use it as a guideline. So I can have like level 1, 2, 3, beginner to intermediate and advanced Chinese. 对，好。我真的觉得太不好意思。为什么在西班牙 in Spain 你现在怎么还不睡觉？你是夜猫子吗？不睡觉 ，not sleep 。日本 Okay, so HSK good framework. What do you guys think about the role play? Is it good? I try to do as many role play as possible. 但是 the problem with my difficulty when I design the HSK videos is I want to be, let's say if I'm having a video HSK 3 and then I try not to use the vocabulary that's listed beyond that level. I try to use the vocabulary listed in H1 and 2, level 1, 就是比较基本 level, lower level vocabulary. When I design it, my words are limited because I want to make sure they are beneath the level. But at the same time, the conversation has to be as natural as possible. I personally think the one of zhe, do you remember about me breaking into my own apartment and then observing, there's a picture, she has a flower in her hand. I think that was well designed. And the video of 被，我被骗了 right? 那个是诈骗集团 My sister called me and I'm like, 我被骗了，我被骂了。 I think that was pretty. Oh, that was successfully designed. 你们觉得怎么样？哦，对，好，谢谢你。我老婆是台湾人，我们住在日本。布朗克，好，我有好几个布朗克的学生。布朗克斯是吗 ？Bronx。好的。Thank you guys for all this feedback. I'm very happy. 所以我希望 HSK4, I still have to gradually build up this series. And HSK3, I think I'm not entirely sure whether I should cover all of the HSK vocabulary because the ones that I have right now, they are, from my teaching experience, the more difficult ones to understand, like 把 right? 把灯关掉，把笔拿过去。So I chose the more difficult ones to cover, but I'm still thinking whether I should cover the other grammar points. And so right now, my short-term goal is I want to, again, continue to build these series, HSK 3, 4, hopefully 5 and 6. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going back to HSK 1 and 2 because there are so many free resources for basic Mandarin already. And I've done a long time ago the basic Chinese level. 所以我觉得我应该会持续扩张 HSK 3、4和 hopefully 5还有6。My long-term goal is I would like to really be able to build up Patreon, which is very important for me if you can give me feedback about how to make the membership much better than it is now. So now on Patreon, the benefits is that you can follow me. I post behind the scene photos and clips when I'm filming and, the blooper videos. But I think maybe this could be a Patreon benefit. Like I can meet the patrons once a month and we can discuss some of the questions that you have more personally. So I'm thinking about adding this live stream into the Patreon benefit. And I also give the audio and the study sheet. I think the study sheets are, do you have study sheet? Has anybody here, 你们用过我的 study sheet 吗？那个讲义。What do you think about that? So the study sheet, I basically outline everything. When I interview people, everything they say, of course, it's not pre-scripted, right? I listen to what they say, then I type it down. 所以等于是一个 database, right? 我在建立一个自己的资料库。那他们讲了什么 what they say, I just type it down in traditional characters, simplified characters, pinyin and English. Then there's the breakdown of the lesson. I think that will help you be able to help you understand what they're saying. I know a lot of people are suggesting that I should, in the conversation, in the interview part, that I should add the characters and pinyin and English. Ideally, I would, but that's just a lot of work for me because I'm right now doing everything by myself, including filming, editing, and I'm also teaching online, right? So that's why I only provide the English at the moment. And if you are a more advanced learner, you can turn off the captions, then practice your listening. Now, if you really would like to have the script, you can support me on Patreon and you can download these study sheets, right? So I make that feature more like the members exclusive benefit for all of these captions. 对，那 I also hope that eventually I will be able to afford having my own like an online academy. So now I'm teaching online. It would be great if I can have a platform of my own. Peggy Teaches Chinese Online Academy, and I can come in and meet students, have a number of students online, and then teach them Chinese. So that's a very long-term goal because I know a platform like that is very expensive, right? So now I'm just using Skype, meeting the students, and I can use the physical whiteboard to assist me. 但是 those online virtual classroom, you can actually upload the materials and to have like an online whiteboard, things like that. 对的 Yeah. 好的，大家还有什么问题啊？看一下。Have you tried the Learning Chinese subreddit places like 对 I share my videos on Reddit, the forum you're talking about. 对，我上去分享。好 so please help me share my videos and if you like them. I know there's lots of content out there and it's very competitive nowadays. So different from 10 years ago when I started. I was 19 years old. 所以现在我这边是老鸟 and I'm going live. I've been in this business for like 10 years and I'm going live for the first time. This is so funny. And so that is why I'm working really hard to make my content good and unique. 因为I know a lot of videos are out there and they're great content, and then I encourage you to, utilize these free content to learn Chinese. But I want to do it in a different way, like the street Mandarin or the role play. But these require a lot more time to create. But I kind of look at it as I really value the quality of my content rather than the quantity. So I started out, at the beginning, when I returned from America, teaching Chinese there for a year, I started out just me teaching in front of the camera. And those were not as popular. Starting in August, right, I started to make videos again. And the videos, they were good. I think my instruction were very clear. 但是 probably not what people want to see. People want to see more like something a little bit more different and a little bit entertaining at the same time. And you can also learn something. That's why I started more like a role play, and then the traveling Taiwan series, taking you guys to see the tourist site here and the street Mandarin. I think so. Hopefully upcoming, I will be able to include like a host in my video. I think that will be interesting, and then when I'm talking to myself, it's not as natural because 我就要自嗨，我要自己在那边自导自演. The new video that's coming up this week on Snake Alley, I had a partner, a host, right? He's just a friend helping out. So I think我们的互动, our back and forth response makes it very interesting and more natural. And he speaks fluent Mandarin. So you will see what the video is like. It will should come out this week. I'm still working on the editing. I just finished typing all of the things that we said, and then I have to make the captions, then turn it into a lesson. How? Any other questions? So speaking of traveling Taiwan and street Mandarin, because I'm filming outside more, I am asking for your support to help me purchase 2 items. I would like to purchase a gimbal. It will be a dream come true. I think it would just help me be able to be more creative and then to include some movements. Because now I'm just filming with my camera, 还有那个a tripod. So I'm aiming to buy a gimbal, and it's very expensive. I don't know why. 真的很贵。然后另外一个是 I would like to get a drone. I want to make some really badass. I want to make some really badass videos using these 2 equipment. So any of you, if you could support me on Patreon, that would be great. If not, you can help me by sharing my videos and just keep watching my videos. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. I'm very grateful for that. Hi, everyone. 居然有人现在才出现了，我们已经进行了快1个小时了。You're late. Okay, how? Sorry, I'm just reading your comments. Back and forth with mixed Chinese and English will be helpful and engaging. Yeah. But I got a feedback from patrons on Patreon that they would like to have more Chinese. That's why the Snake Alley video would be in total Chinese with English captions, of course, right? So in the future, if I'm able to hire like a host, to pay somebody to host the video with me, and that definitely depends on my income on Patreon. If I can have a host with me, the person will be a non-native speaker who speaks fluent Mandarin. And I think having a person who speaks good Mandarin also definitely encourage you, like, oh, if she or he can do it, then you can also do it. You can connect with the viewers in that way. So I would like to have my own host show. Not necessarily sitting in front of the camera to talk. That's one way. another way is I can have the person with me to film traveling Taiwan series in street Mandarin. 对，那我们可以一起 we can try something like food together. We talk about the food, or I don't know. There will be more options and how improve learning Chinese. No pressure with sponsoring or helping me on Patreon. Just if you could, it would be great. But I see, I don't know, from Spain, right? I see you always comment on my video. I'm very thankful that you come and check on me and always leave comments and very supportive. So no pressure at all. This is just I'm reaching out to people, and whoever I'm already having quite a bit of support, but I have to kind of include that to let everybody know if they are financially able to support me and they can support, but if not, no pressure. 好的 I think I will end it pretty soon. 我居然自己在那边说话说45分钟. I'm talking right here to you in front of the camera for 45 minutes. All right, so I think I'll host another one next month, and information will be on Patreon, and hopefully I will see you all again. And don't forget, Snake Alley video is coming out this weekend. 下次见，我要 end stream 了。Any more questions before I go? I'm gonna end it. 好，再见大家，谢谢你们来参加我的 live stream. Bye.